This is my reading wrap-up for September. I'm a little bit late. We're already a month into October, but whatever. I have my new bookshelves from IKEA, and my books are all organized, so I wanted to film in front of them. Alex is helping me. They're in the hallway, so it's really difficult to get a good angle where you can see the bookshelves.
Yeah, and I can't seem to get my arms steady here.
So I'm just gonna get into this because he can't hold the camera at that angle for very long. Yeah, the first book I read in September was Bossman by Vi Keeland. First a note, that is one word, because when I tried to search it on Goodreads and on my library, it wasn't coming up because I thought it was 2 words, and it's 1 word. So there's that. This is a romance type book of the adult variety. So if you're not like
18
old enough for that, don't read it. That being said, usually those kinds of books fall into the category of either one of 2 things. It's either a really good book that happens to have like sex scenes in it, and I like the other storyline in general anyway, or it's all mushed together and it's fine, it's good, it's a romance book, but it's like trash reading. Not necessarily that it's bad, it's just like, you know, junk food, that kind of thing. This was incredibly well written. I was very, very impressed. This is the kind of book that's like one of those ones that you can't put down. Like I said, I was very impressed with the writing of this. I was really sad that it's a standalone and not a series. So I would definitely be interested in seeing some more of her stuff. This I did have to get out of system from the library, so I don't think our library system really has much, unfortunately. Layla, stop. But yeah, I was very impressed. I guess I should tell you what it's about. It's, this girl is at a restaurant with a really cruddy date, and she's in the hallway to the bathroom, frantically texting her friend, trying to get him to, call, say it's an emergency so she can leave. And she runs into this guy. And he's really hot, but she's like, she thinks he's like a jerk, so she just blows him off, whatever. And he ends up dragging his date over to their table, and they all yap, and he makes up stories pretending they've known each other forever. And they don't exchange phone numbers or anything. She goes home, whatever. And then she, a few months later, has this kind of boyfriend, and she goes to the gym with him one day, and she runs into the guy again. And so they talk, and he makes up stories about how they've supposedly known each other forever, and blah, 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 and she doesn't see him again. And then she quits her job, and she ends up getting a new job, of course, and he ends up being her boss. So there's all of that. But it's so much better than just that, and like I said, it's really well written. Definitely recommend that one if you're into those kinds of books. Really, really enjoyed it. I read a lot of good books recently, I guess. The next one I read was a graphic novel. It was one of the Doctor Who ones for the 12th Doctor, Volume 5. It's called The Twist. It says the author is George Mann on here, but they always have multiple authors for graphic novels. It was really good. I enjoyed it. I have 1 minute until my muffins are done?
Yes.
Alex is also making me food, and he's telling me I have 1 minute to get through this. Otherwise, my muffins are going to burn. Okay, anyway, really good. Love Doctor Who graphic novels, on par with the rest of them. Would recommend reading them if you like Doctor Who, I guess. I'm not good at doing this fast. Okay, the next one is, I'm going to say this weird, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a F***CK. Because, 1, I don't like to cuss on the channel, and 2, You have to type it into Goodreads, Amazon, my library system to find it that way. You can't type the actual word. You have to type it with the asterisk. Otherwise, it won't come up. A Counterintuitive Approach to Living a Good Life by Mark Manson. I don't usually read books like this, like self-help or whatever, but this one, here, I'll try. How's this? Is this good?
Yes.
Okay. This one is really good. I actually flew through it. It's got a lot of aspects from other things, but so it doesn't have a ton of new information, but it's just really interesting to read. The way it's written, the way it's presented is really good. Even if you're not reading it for actual, like, the self-help properties, and you're reading it more for fun, I really enjoyed reading it, and I'm planning on trying to get an audiobook copy for Alex on Audible, because it has aspects that I've noticed that tie in with Buddhism, which is what he was raised with,
And Stoicism.
In it, and I think he would really enjoy it. I would definitely recommend that one. I mean, obviously it does have some language, so if you don't like that and you don't like having to read around it, then don't read it, but it's good, it's well written. I would recommend it. The next thing I read was Happily Ever After by Kiera Cass. This is the novella bind-up for the Selection series. Technically books number 0.4, 0.5, 2.5, and 2.6. I really enjoyed this. It was great seeing other, I hope you can still see me, other characters' perspectives from some of the things, and I loved it. It was really good to stay in the original world, and because it was originally a trilogy, and then they added 2 more books that were like later on of their kid and everything. So it was nice to be back in the original world again, because I had started the first one with their kid, and I'll get to that in a minute. I really enjoyed this. I flew through it. If you like the series, I would definitely recommend reading it. Then I read Freddy's Shadow Cards by Jessica Brody. I think this is technically supposed to be a kid's book, or like a middle grade or whatever. It's from the Descendants movie that Disney did, and then they did that YA book series, and this is like the middle grade book series that comes after the YA one, whatever. The Disney Descendants School of Secrets. This is apparently book 2, but it read fine on its own. It's basically another villain's kid learning how to be good, that sort of thing, or at least not bad. I enjoyed it. I really like that, the whole Descendants world, so I like getting back into it. If you like the world, I would recommend reading it. It's good. Freddy is the daughter of the Shadow something, the bad guy from the Frog Prince movie. That one. So there's that. And then I read The Heir, which is book 4 in the Selection series. I mentioned this a second ago. This is the first one of the last 2 of the series that are from the perspective of their daughter. I liked it. It was good, but I didn't enjoy it as much as I enjoyed the original 3 books and then the novella bind-up. It's still interesting, but I mostly want to read it to read more about the world, because it's kind of technically-ish, sort of, maybe a dystopian, and I wanted to hear more about the world and how it works and how they're trying to fix it and everything, but I didn't find her character as interesting as I found her mom's character in the first 3 books. So I think you could easily read the first 3 books and not read the last 2. I'm still waiting on the last one to come in from the library, so it was good, but I didn't enjoy it as much. Oh, quit making faces. I've only got 1 book left. The next book I read was, Combined Plots, Asthma, and Being 9 months pregnant. I can't breathe, and I'm doing all this talking. The next book I read was The Seafarer's Kiss by Julia Ember. What are you doing?
Hearing you.
I'm fine.
Finding you.
I also had to get this one out of system from the library. Totally worth it. It's a Little Mermaid retelling, and it's supposed to be partly a Ragnar Lothbrok retelling. I wish this was a series. I want more of this. A lot of people have been talking about this book on Goodreads. Not Goodreads, BookTube. And a lot of people have been saying that there are issues with abusive relationships and stuff. The main character is bi. So that's really cool. You don't see a lot of those, especially ones where
they're not turned into a pervert sex maniac.
Yeah, it's not like the weird stereotypes. It's just like, okay, she had a boyfriend. Okay, now she has a girlfriend. Whatever. No big deal.
Because that's how it is 99.99% of the time in real life.
Yeah, so I really liked the Viking culture aspect of it, which there wasn't a lot of because that was all on the surface, and of course she's a mermaid, so it's underwater. The Little Mermaid retelling I thought was great. I really liked the main character. I liked how her being bi was presented. And like I said, a lot of people on BookTube have been talking about, yeah, it's a great book, except for these abusive relationship things. And reading it, I didn't see any of that. I saw her used to be best friend, who's a guy, and he's really pushing to get in a relationship with her. And yeah, he pulls some abusive crap. But personally, I don't put that into the this is an abusive relationship category, because she basically says, no, I'm not putting up with it, and leaves. It's not like, it's one-sided. Like, he's trying to be abusive, but she's not letting it happen. So it's not an abusive relationship, you know? If that makes sense. And, like, there is one point where she agrees, but that's just so he doesn't kill the human girl that she likes. And then as soon as he leaves, she goes off and does her own thing and just doesn't listen to him. So I think that's fine. I think that's a good way to portray it. Like, yeah, some people act like this, but you don't have to do what they say, kind of thing. Like I said, I didn't see any parts of the abusive relationship stuff in it. I love the whole book. Like I said, I'd love to see a second book following what's going on now. It was great. I absolutely loved it. I even recommended my library to pick up a copy for them because it's so good. Yes, I didn't read a whole lot in September. It was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 books. But I read some really, really good books. And tiny spoiler, the first book I read in October is really, really good too. Like, I read the whole thing in a day. So, I would have read it in half a day, but Mom kept wanting to be social, which is okay. She was trying really hard to let me read my book, but she's like me, and she just had to keep telling me things, which is fine. And I had a doctor's appointment, so. Anyway, not talking about that. That'll be an October wrap-up. That's everything I read. What'd you read this month? Did you do a wrap-up video? Etc., etc. I'm going to go try and breathe and eat those muffins that I can smell, because they smell really good. And don't forget to subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.